think we're going to shift gears from a bunch of people talking about like light and environment, take that environment tangent a bit to biology and bring in Archita, who's going to talk about some things with genes and how, not the ones that you wear, but like genetics and how she's used that to create some interesting art form. It'll be great to see what you've been doing, Archita. Over to you.
Hi everyone. Let me just share my screen. I think you can see it.
You can see it. Do you want to do a full screen or
Okay, yeah. Wait.
click on play over there?
No, I see it, but it's hidden under that. Wait a minute. Yeah, now it's okay.
Perfect. Sounds good.
So, hi everyone. Good evening. I'm Archita. I am a biotech designer, biotech engineer, and like during my graduation, I always had this thing at the back of my mind that I would do something creative. So I joined Srishti for my master's, and it all began from there. So so after coming to Srishti, I always wanted to combine biology with design, but we were, we were in pandemic, and we were just stuck with our computer, and I wanted to take it further, but we only had this thing. So 6 months back, I got introduced to P5JS, and I thought, let's combine bio design and computation. So I thought, what if we can make art using DNA sequences? So this was my starting point, and I had to do an academic project within like 10 days of getting introduced to this. So I came up with GENE-O-TRON. This would be my first P5JS project, and I took DNA sequences from genetic databases that are available on internet, and like DNA. I took DNA sequences of various animals and genetic features of animals and plants, and I combined them. So overall, I made a virtual genetically modified organism. So let's talk about a little bit genetically modified organisms. So if you have seen Narnia, there's a creature which is like half human and half horse. So this is a bit exaggerated form of genetically modified organism. But yeah, scientists and engineers have managed to make microorganisms and plants with mixed genes, and in humans and other animals, it is not being done because of ethical issues. So my output was in a pixelated art form. This is how it goes. So welcome to the lab of aspiring bioartist. Wish to make a genetically modified art? Let's begin. So we select an animal and give that animal a superpower. And then another feature, we give that to him. And congratulations, you have successfully created art from genetically modified dog that can fly and has a beak. Click next to see genetic code in pixelated art form. So this was the final artwork. And like my code was all over the place because I was really new to coding. So as any good designer would do, I made a list of pros and cons of my project. And pros were that it sparks curiosity and inspiration about interdisciplinary field of art and science, and it was an interesting tool for widening imagination. So the cons were retrieving genetic information was tough, and it has a whole field in itself called bioinformatics, and the complexity and accuracy of code was like needed to be improved. So I chose that let's focus on visualizing DNA sequences first and more efficiently. So let's talk about DNA a little bit, because otherwise it won't be clear. So DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. It is basic unit of every living thing on earth, and 99% of the DNA in humans are same, and we are all different with this 1% of DNA. So DNA is made up of nucleotide bases adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine, and they combine in various permutation and combination to make up our genes. So each cell has about 3 billion base pairs of DNA. So that is a lot, and like managing that kind of data is tough. So what I decided to do was, one way I could do it was using codons. So codons are basically a combination of 3 consecutive bases, like ATC, GCA, and AAT. So each codon makes an amino acid, and which makes further a protein. And we are given our features with proteins and stuff. So let's suppose A is equal to 10, and T is equal to 20, C is equal to 30. And this is how I gave each block in my code RGB value. So what you are seeing here is that each square here is an amino acid in itself, and the series of these blocks are representing protein. Okay, so next, what I did was, it was easy to retrieve COVID-19 data. So I took COVID-19 2021 April variant, and actually, COVID is a virus, so it does not have a DNA, it has an RNA, but for the sake of simplicity and for scientific purposes, it is converted into DNA somehow. So I took two variants, 2021 variant and 2020 variant, and you can clearly see the mutation in these two. So, but the thing is that a virus is a very small entity, and I was not even able to put the whole DNA in screen. So, like, going further into more complex organism would mean, taking a lot of uh, uh, DNA and then working on it would not be possible for me. So what I thought was, what if I just take small sequences and make art using based on sequences itself. So that's when I came up with this. This is a generative abstract art, uh, and it is formed on the based on the length of the sequence, and each base pair is representing a particular color. So suppose if we have if C is red color, so we can see that there is a lot of red color, and we can automatically know that there is a lot of cytosine in this image, in this sequence. So this is actually the genes of an amoeba, and a small part of gene of amoeba. So this was it, and this was a small part of fungal DNA, and this is art made from gene RHNUDX, which is responsible for roses smell. So just a minute. What you're seeing here is you can see the smell of a rose indirectly. This just keeps on going like this. And how does the future look like? Is that the biggest challenge right now is for me to compile this large amount of data and then map it in a way that it turns into art. And then I would move further to audio visual part. But imagine having art made from your own DNA, and you can visualize someone's voice, or even, even your favorite pet. Like, it can be really emotional, as well as uh, art from like a very scientific creature that does not even exist. So yeah, thank you.
This was amazing, Archita. I think you really, I think, blew everyone's mind with the whole rose smell bit for sure. Uh, I thought this was really interesting, not just as a visual output and the aesthetic that you chose, but also the process and the encoding that you used behind it. So this was a lot of fun to hear the process and what you were actually using to make things up in the final result. Uh, I'm curious if there's any questions that anybody has. I'm also maybe just starting as a question. Are you going to post this process somewhere? Is there like an article that people can read? I know we've shamelessly taken Five code and shared that once, but
I am planning to do that like in some time, because it's an ongoing process, this project. So yeah, I may put it somewhere and then I'll share it. Sure. If you want me to share it, I'll manage something. Yeah.
I think this will be great to have a documentation and then share it with other people. The fact that you picked up P5 6 months back and you have such an interesting result already, I'm like eager to see what you do in a year or two as well.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Any question?
Yeah, is there any other question? There was a question on what is a codon, but I will not bother you with that. I've dropped a Wikipedia link for people who are curious about the codon, and I think they can enjoy going down a biology lesson itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. So I think one of the breakout rooms that we'll do is going to be a bit more of maybe beginners talking about how they began their journey of P5 and creative coding. It'll be great if you hang around in that breakout room, and maybe we can do a bit more conversation about how did you start, what did you do first, etc.
Okay, sure.
Perfect. Then let's move to the next speaker, and I think we have one after another some really interesting talks. So I'm going to quickly move on.